Welcome to another iPracticePro tutorial. This video introduces the chords view. A lot of things work in the chords view like in the progressions view. Here you will also find the play button that starts and stops the playback. A long tap on the play button mutes the metronome for this round. You will hear the metronome again after you stopped and restarted it. The count in is always audible, but you can set the metronome permanently to silent in the metronome settings. Tap on the metronome button to see the metronome settings. It's the same screen that you may know from the progressions or pad view. Please watch the separate tutorial for the metronome. The chords view has a special feature regarding the metronome button. With a long tap, the metronome button disappears and the arpeggio button appears. As the name suggests, when you tap it, you will hear the chord as an arpeggio. The metronome appears again when you press a button that uses the metronome for playback, or when you long press the arpeggio button again. The button to the right of the metronome selects a random root and a random chord. A swipe from this button up or down lets you quickly set the number of repetitions. You can set which chords should be available here in the settings. By default, all chords are selected, and it definitely makes sense to reduce the number of chords to the chords you really want to play and practice at the moment. iPracticePro then only chooses a random chord from this selection. The button on the right plays the selected chord and chooses a new root after each round. The number of repeats can also be determined here by swiping. During both random modes, you can switch to the stealth mode by tapping the chord area. This will hide the chords. Since you can no longer see which chord iPracticePro is playing, you have to rely entirely on your ear. iPracticePro shows the previously played chords if you stop the random mode. The information button gives you information about the currently selected chord. You will see the chord and the scale in the selected key plus additional information. In this view, there is also the help button in the top left, which leads you to this tutorial and explains all gestures. You can adjust the volume of the root, the third and seventh, and the tensions when you tap the small volume button. The root, third, and seventh are the tones that are essential to determine which chord is played. The tensions are additional tones that a pianist or guitarist can play to add more color to the chord. The settings are different in each view. In the chords view, you can select your instrument so that iPracticePro knows how to transpose for you. In standard mode, you will not be shown all available chords. If you want to practice all chords, you have to choose the expert mode. Here, you can set the instrument for playback in normal mode or arpeggio mode. There are two arpeggio modes. Just try them out. The number of bars for the random mode can also be specified here. The chord progression determines the progression of the root note for the button shown above. By default, random is selected. In expert mode, chord selection lets you select a preset collection of chords. All other chords not contained in it are hidden. This is particularly useful in random mode, since iPracticePro will only play the chords you have selected here. The free chord selection gives you even more freedom. This is available in both standard and expert mode. Here you can deselect all chords individually that you don't want to practice. That was the tutorial for the chords view. Have fun practicing.